Hello and welcome to Business Daily on Trust Elevation. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. Let's start you off with some top stories in the business world. The floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, yes, today being. Now the air offshore index closed at 66,482.28 points. That is declining by 0.43%, losing about from previous close of 6,482.28 points. Now, the market capitalization closed at 36.478 trillion naira, and they lost close to about 158 billion from the previous close of 36.544 trillion naira. Now, we had 657.5 million units of shares, that is the volume of shares traded in 6,446 deals valued at 4.59 billion naira. Now, what does that tell us when we compare it with Tuesday's trading? What does that tell us when we compare it to Tuesday's trading? Now, when we see what happened is that we had an 80% improvement in volume, a 19% improvement in turnover, but a 12% decline in deals. Yes, our deals actually went down again to 6,646 as of Tuesday's close, and it closed at actually 7,000, over 7,000. And yes, our value has come back up again. If we recall yesterday's data, rather Tuesday's data showed about 3 point something billion, but now it's back up at 4.5 billion naira. Now let's go over to our gainers table. But before we do that, let's know that, we had about 117 NGX listed equities that participated in trading, and we had 29 gainers and 22 losers, which means that our market breadth closed positive. Now, who are our gainers? Who leading the gainers table? We have Owando closing at 9 naira 45 kobo, that's plus 988%. Then we have Red Star Express closing at 2 naira 91 kobo, that's plus 981%. And we have Triple G and Co closing at 2.38 naira, that is plus 9.68%. What's happening on our red table? Let's take a look. Now on the red table, we have Ikeja Hotel closing at 3 naira 15 kobo at minus 10. We have Wema Bank closing at 4 naira 23 kobo. Same with Ikeja at minus 10%, and Associated Bus Company, popularly known as ABC, at 0.72 naira, closing at minus 8.86%. Who were our top traders and market movers? Let's take a look. We can see that Consolidated Hallmark Insurance had most volume of shares sold at 71.536 million shares. Then we have Fidelity Bank following close at 33.222 million shares, and then we have Guaranty Trust Bank at 30.971 million shares traded on the floor of the exchange. Now, one of the reasons why the NGX had that bearish outlook was due to profit taking in stocks like MTN Nigeria and about 21 other stocks. That's why the bear had a wonderful time on the floor of the stock exchange yesterday. Now let's move over to our sectors. Let's see what's happening there. NGX banking at minus 0.02%. It went on a downward trend. It's kind of still maintained that actually, because it was a downward trend as of Tuesday as well. NGX Industrial at minus 0.01%. NGX Consumer Goods seems to maintain its positive outlook. NGX Oil and Gas still there, just there, flat. And NGX Insurance, yes, although it went up, it's down at 0.28%. Actually, positive, but at 0.28%. What's happening on the continent? Johannesburg Stock Exchange is still experiencing a downward trend. It's now at 70,564.69, closing at losing about 0.29%. Now, Ghana has joined Johannesburg as well and is now 3,135.30 basis points and closing at minus 1.19%. It looks like Nairobi Stock Exchange heard our pleas and talks yesterday and somehow it's gone up on the green side, closing at 94.43 basis points, going up by 0.04%. Hopefully they maintain this trend. Now, that's the much we have for you on Stock Update at the moment. We'll be right back with more, talking about the telecoms industry and this proposed new tariff. Please stay with us.
Political stability.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying. That was the story on illicit financial flows and how we could stem it and its effects on our economy. Now, earlier I said we're going to talk about telecommunications sector. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but the telecommunications operators are looking to do a tariff based on states. Now, what does that mean? It means that if I am in Abuja at the moment, my tariff for calls, data, text messaging and other telecommunications offers would be different from somebody who is in Lagos, who is in Adamawa, who is in Kano, who is in Katsina, who is in Ondo, who is in Enugu, who is in Abia, who is in Oyo. The prices are going to be different. Now, what they are citing as the reason for doing this is multiple taxation. Now, telecommunication subscribers in Nigeria are opposing this plan and saying, no, this can't happen. And of course, this brings us to the conversation. We're supposed to have our guest join us virtually, but due to one or two things, he's not being able to join for us to have this conversation. And is it the telecommunications issue? Is it a network problem, or is it, one of the other things? However, the subscribers has said that they are against this state tariff. And I've tried to scour and see, are there other countries in the world who actually do state tariff, and what's the end game? What's the plan? If we're going to be doing state tariff, why? Yes, something is wrong. There's multiple taxation, and I know that most times the end users have to be the ones to bear the brunt of the situation. But what can be done that we don't bear the brunt? What's to say that I wouldn't be paying so much now just to make a call when I was currently with a flat rate of 4 naira, 10 kobo for VAT and all that on top. For text messaging, flat rate across the 4 major telecommunications network in Nigeria. That means now that all 4 of them will have different prices. So the question is, will they have the same price but just different for states? Or will the four different communications network have different prices generally for calls, text messages, and then different prices for state? We need to unpack that to know more, and we'll try to get someone from telco operators to give us more information, but we've not been able to get them. And when we do, we will definitely get into this conversation, because we need to understand what's coming to us, how we're going to feel the impact of this. But let's get to what they say is the issue, which is multiple taxation. Now, the Communications Commission, NCC, and Mobile Network have provided telecommunication services in the country, and they have over 40 different taxes and levies. Now, earlier in the show, or previously in the show, I think probably last week or early this week, we talked about taxes and the different ways it's supposed to go. There's the federal government, there's the state government, and there's the local government. For some of these companies that are, have branches in different states, the branches in the states ought to pay taxes to the state. Then those in the local government like that and like that. But it seems like, the tax is the same thing across board and no difference. Now, some of the taxes that the telecommunications industry pays is the company income tax. Of course, they should pay that. The Tertiary Education Trust Fund tax, the capital gains tax, withholding tax, stamp duty, industrial training fund, employees compensation scheme, customs duties, tenement rates, land usage charge, business premises registration fees, effluent discharge levy, ecological levy, emission levy. This is just some. You can see I'm listing them out, and I didn't even know some of these taxes existed until, reading this up. Are some of the taxes that they have to pay. And so you wonder, how are they making their money, and how are they doing? How are they being able to survive and do business, considering that for them to run, we don't have stable electricity, actually, meaning they have to fall back on diesel and the rest of them to keep their places running, keep the facilities running, so that you and I can communicate. Now, they are saying that they want to do away with this because of this particular multiple taxation. Now, our President Bola Tinubu, sometime earlier in the year, has given executive orders to curb arbitrary taxation policy in the country. Now, the then Special Advisor, Special Duties Communication Strategy to the President, who now is the current Minister of Solid Minerals, that is Dele Alake, announced the directive and said that, some of the executive orders that were signed, some of these taxes, which this current telecommunications 5% excise tax is part of, because earlier in the year we heard that they wanted to put a 5% excise tax on telecommunications. Another one again, which will of course increase another problem and all that. Now, some of these things was the Finance Act effective date variation, the the excise tariff variation amendment order, that's customs. Then of course we have the excise tax on telecommunication services, as well as excise duties on locally manufactured products. Then we have the green tax, that's for plastic bottles. And personally, for me, I think that would have been a very great idea, seeing as we have a problem, a dearth of plastic bottles and plastics loitering and littering the place in the country, causing us climate problems and climate change issues. Wow, it's been a wonderful conversation, and due to time, unfortunately, and due to circumstances beyond our control, our guests couldn't join us in. But I'm sure we will come back to this conversation to have our guests and even people from the telco operators to talk more, delve more, and give us more insight on what's happening, how they plan to resolve this problem without the end users feeling the heat and the blow of this taxation. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's been a pleasure being here with you. Don't forget, same place and same time tomorrow on Trust Television. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. But before we go, do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, follow and watch more of our programs on our YouTube live stream and on our website, trusttv.com. Please